Welcome back to Paul's Tech News. By the time you receive this message, it will be November, and while on the one hand that means pie season, on the other hand it also means less than 2 months to go in the year, though it sort of feels like we're hurtling towards something a bit more cataclysmic than just the end of 2025. But enough with the doom and gloom. What am I talking about? The AI-powered line goes up and will continue to go up forever, he stated confidently. I mean, just look at Nvidia, who became the first company ever to close a market day valued at over $5 trillion this week. And if that's not money enough for you, AMD Zen 6 Ryzen Medusa CPUs have been confirmed, and a 720Hz gaming monitor is finally up for sale for about $1,100, which is an insanely small amount compared to Nvidia's $5 trillion market cap. This is not investment advice, by the way. This is tech news.
Excellent!
Today's video is brought to you by Thermaltake's View 600 TG full tower chassis, featuring 4 tempered glass panels that provide an unobstructed view of your PC and support for massive 420mm radiators for AIO or custom cooling. Available in 5 distinct and unique colorways, including Future Dusk, the View 600 TG also supports hidden connector and eATX motherboards and includes an anti-sag GPU bracket and rotatable PCIe slots, as well as easily removable ventilation panels and plenty of room for cable management and added storage. There's an optional 6-inch LCD add-on too. For more on the View 600 TG from Thermaltake, click the sponsor link in the video description. If you're a PC gamer who prefers the old Nvidia, back when the most noteworthy thing they'd do is launch a new high-end GPU like the 1080 Ti or something, then the news that Team Green cracked $5 trillion in market cap Wednesday probably didn't excite you much, unless you own stock, I guess. And while sure, this means Jensen could now easily afford to give us all free GPUs and leather jackets now, will he do that? No, because he's too busy doing the global megacorp thing and buying up or majorly investing in a new company pretty much daily. $1 billion to Poolside, a startup that builds AI models. Another $1 billion to Nokia so they can build AI-native 6G networks, which will of course be necessary to control the global fleet of robotaxis soon to be deployed through the Nvidia Uber partnership. And hey, maybe those can be built in the AI-powered factory they're developing with Hyundai. The list goes on, but the fun thing is the mere announcement of these deals, even the suspiciously circuitous ones like the $100 billion OpenAI investment, causes Nvidia's stock to balloon, even if no money has yet changed hands. And perhaps this would be less aggravating if it was just AI cars and factories in the works, but clearly there are those who see uses for AI that are far more troubling, such as mass surveillance, which makes the Nvidia Palantir collaboration announced Tuesday quite concerning, given Palantir's amoral affinity for government defense contracts, public surveillance, and gross misuse of beloved Lord of the Rings references. But one doesn't need one of the lost seeing stones of Numenor to observe that we seem to be doing our best to speedrun a dystopian hellscape future timeline, but at least when these surveillance and enforcement bots arrive with their Soma launchers to induce sedation and drag me off to AI reconditioning camp, I'll be able to chuckle at the irony, since I helped bankroll the company largely responsible for ushering in this brave new world by buying a GTX 260 Core 216 back in 2008. Speaking of all the awesome stuff that's been happening because of AI, memory and storage prices are continuing to skyrocket. And if you want a real-world example that goes beyond these hockey stick-esque graphs on PC Part Picker, consider a typical-ish 32GB Corsair Vengeance DDR5 6000 kit was $95 or so pretty much all year, but since August it's climbed to $184, about a 94% increase, meaning most PC builds are now $75 to $100 more expensive. And quite a few SSDs have jumped in price by $20 to $30 as well. Storage price increases are not as pronounced yet, but there's a clear upward trend recently. My advice to solve this, of course, is advice you're already taking. Watching and perhaps subscribing to my channel, as this has been discussed multiple times in the past couple months, so I'm sure you're all stocked up on SSDs and RAM to get you through the coming winter. The server market is experiencing shortage impacts as well, per Digitimes, and US and China-based hyperscalers are now only receiving 70% of the RAM that they order. The current rosy outlook on the situation is that there's no end in sight, but you do have to ask yourself if maybe skyrocketing RAM and SSD prices are just the price we have to pay for all the benefits to humanity and everyday life that AI has brought to us. And I'm going to say no. The answer to that question is no. Speaking of answering my own questions, are we ready for tech briefs? As in the royal we? I'll allow it. It's fun when rumors become reality, and that very thing has occurred thanks to this riveting Global Summit presentation posted to the Open Compute Project channel, where AMD's best codename ever, Medusa. Joe, could you add like a snake's hissing sound whenever I say that? Medusa was directly referenced by AMD engineers and shown on a slide, so the Zen 6 based processors are confirmed, and this family is expected to include Medusa Ridge desktop processors as well as Medusa Point mobile processors. It has also been rumored, but not confirmed, that these Zen 6 CPUs will still use the AM5 socket and launch in late 2026 or early 2027. Of course, this is AMD, so they can't have good news without shooting themselves in the foot with some bad news too, and so Thursday it was revealed that thanks to them now focusing on RDNA 3 and RDNA 4 GPU support, and likely data center and AI stuff with ROCm development, they'll be switching RDNA 1 and RDNA 2 GPUs to maintenance mode, which means no driver optimizations for specific games anymore, and only critical security fixes and bug corrections will be provided. That's a heavy blow for many devices like Radeon RX 5000 and 6000 series graphics cards, whose users are understandably put out. RIP sensible RX 6800 XT buyers, but RDNA 1 and particularly RDNA 2 also handle graphics tasks in many an APU, like the Ryzen Z2A chip that powers the ROG Xbox Ally Non-X version, which launched like 2 weeks ago. Seems AMD didn't really think this choice through. Meanwhile, the refresh rate wars rage on over in gaming display land, and diminishing returns be damned, we're going beyond 240Hz and even 500Hz displays all the way up to 720. Both LG and ASUS announced dual-mode OLED monitors over the summer that hit 540Hz at 1440 and 720Hz at 1080, and the ASUS model, the ROG Swift OLED PG27AQ-WP-W, which is based on the same panel from LG, has actually gone up for sale this week for those who need the freshest pixels possible piped into their eye holes. It's about $1,100, which could be worse, I suppose, but the downside for us Yanks is that it's only selling in China for now. I suppose those in other regions can use the downtime until there's a global launch to figure out what combination of visual quality settings and upscaling needs to be used to get their GPUs to output a game at 720 frames per second. Just don't use multi-frame generation. That would be like lying to your monitor and your eyeballs. Finally, anyone who has heard the high-pitched squeal of Coil whine coming from their GPU probably just wants it to go away. But the mad lads who developed the PC test suite OCCT decided to make lemons into lemonade and turn that whining into joyous song with recently released version 15. Practically speaking, this is a 3D adaptive test that is meant to detect coil whine by modulating GPU load, which varies the pitch of your coil whine if it exists, and you can choose from 3 songs: Show Off, the ever-popular Spinning Cat, and Korobeiniki, which I'm probably mispronouncing, but you might recognize as the Tetris theme. But sadly, if your GPU does not have coil whine, you probably won't hear these dulcet tones over your system's fan noise. So I predict special Coil Whine Edition GPUs coming to market soon to truly capitalize on this technological achievement. But there you have it guys, tech news for the week, and if you liked it, click that like button or leave me a comment down below. While you're down there, all of the articles I talked about today are linked in the video's description if you're interested, and you can check out my store at paulshardware.net for high quality merchandise like t-shirts, hoodies, beer sets, and more. Subscribing to my channel is always a good call too. Thanks again everyone, and we'll see you next week.